Welcome to the Ketovangelist Kitchen. I'm Brian.
And I'm Carrie.
And this podcast is dedicated to making things simple and easy for you in the kitchen. Carrie Brown is a classically trained, world-class chef who has a passion for creating ketogenic recipes that taste better than anything you've ever experienced. But more than that, she loves teaching people how to cook the right way.
And each week on this podcast, Brian and I discuss all the ways you can create awesome keto food that is guaranteed to make you a rock star in the kitchen.
If you'd like to learn more about Ketovangelist Kitchen, you can go to KetoVangelistKitchen.com and sign up for the newsletter.
In exchange for your email address, you'll get brand new recipes delivered to your inbox, ready for you to whip up in the kitchen and enjoy with your friends and family.
So sit back, relax, and get ready to laugh and learn. You're about to enter the Ketovangelist Kitchen. Hey, what's up, everybody? Now listen, you know who you don't hear right now? You don't hear Carrie Brown. Do you know why? Because she is fighting her nature. I asked her to be quiet so we could do the intro. Now she's basically like wrapped up in saran wrap, trying to make sure she doesn't make any noise. So now you can talk, Carrie. Say hi.
Hello. Lovely listeners.
All right. So you're doing okay today, Miss Carrie Brown?
I am awesome.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
No, you're supposed to ask me why.
Oh, okay. Why?
Because I'm writing you lovely people a cookbook.
Oh.
And that's just like the funnest thing to do for me.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm fascinated by that, and still, maybe fascinated is not the right word. I'm intrigued by how that would be the funnest.
That could be fun?
Yeah. Yeah. How in the world is that fun? But then again, maybe I don't want to know.
It's very fun. I've
Okay.
spent the last, I don't know how many weeks wading through almond flour and heavy cream and wallowing in butter and
that has nothing to do with the cookbook. That's just your normal like Thursday routine, right? That's just
and
like
cheese. I've been like swimming in cheese and grated cheese, obviously, because you couldn't swim through non-grated cheese. That would be a bit hard. So
yeah.
grated cheese, been swimming.
You cannot swim through a full
cheese.
block of cheese. That's true. That would be very, very difficult.
Apart from the fact that I can't actually swim in anything, even water. So you get the idea.
Wait,
Swimming in cheese.
You never learned how to swim?
I tried for years, and my body is just not a flotation device. It's just not.
You tried for years? Why didn't you just get out of the pool and wait for a minute? Like, that's a long time to spend in water. Years? Come on.
It was, and I got really tired, so I gave up.
It's not working. It's not working.
Bloop, bloop, bloop. Help!
I see. Okay, so I like the fact that you're willing to just call it a day at some point in time. Like, that's good. That's good news. Okay.
On the fourth time I almost drowned, I decided that maybe life would be funner if I went and did something else.
Yeah. All right. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Anyway, I've been in the kitchen for weeks creating, you might have to bleep this out, but as one of my friends says, making it up.
Yes. I'm going to have to bleep that out. Goodness gracious. Oh, yeah.
I have been making stuff up in the kitchen for you lovely, lovely people so that you can have a holiday season eating all your favorite stuff without any of the traditional ingredients.
None of the traditional ingredients. None of the traditional ingredients.
Oh, okay, well, there's a turkey involved.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't got rid of the turkey, but, none of the flour, none of the grains, none of the gluten, none of the sugar, none of the processed seed oils, none of that stuff we just don't want in our temple-like bodies.
That's right. Yes, that's exactly right. So,
and that is like the funnest thing in the whole world for me to do. So I've had a brilliant time over the last weeks just messing with foodstuffs, making them into delicious other foodstuffs.
Right. So yeah, I challenged Carrie a couple of weeks ago. I was like, hey, you should make a holiday cookbook. And she was like, holiday? What's a holiday cookbook? I don't even know. I don't like holidays. What's that?
That's
And
true, actually. I didn't say I don't like them. I just said, what are holidays? Because I am single and childless, so I'm familyless. So I'm like a little orphan, live with cats. Cats don't require holidays. They don't track them. They don't remind me. So the holidays just like, wait, what, a holiday? Oh, we're on. I don't have to come to the office this week. Okay. Thank you for letting me know.
what now?
Holidays aren't on my radar.
Is there not like a national cat day or something like that? I could swear there is. Cats should have a holiday. I mean, there's enough of them.
Yes, but shh.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Hey, any cats listening? I was JK. Okay. So
Anyway, so yes.
so she was like, I don't even know what your food is. I, in jolly old England, we just have blood pudding and bangers and mash and bubbles and squeak. And that's all we have. So I don't even know. So she had to go investigate. Am I right? Am I close?
You for once, ta-da! You are actually correct. You're actually not talking rubbish, Brian. Well done.
I have my moments.
That is pretty much exactly what I said. Anyway, I have made pecan pie now. I know what it is. And apparently my pecan pie is, quote, better than the one I have made for the last 20 years with flour and sugar. So yay. And pumpkin pie and chocolate cream tart and appetizers and even breakfast things. Exciting breakfast stuff for the holidays.
For the folks who are in Australia and New Zealand, that's brekkie. Okay, just I'm international. I am international today. She's got brekkie stuff. I'm just saying. Right there.
Yes.
I'm cosmopolitan. Okay. So yeah, it's going to be a fantabulous cookbook. It's gonna be for folks who are like fretting about the holidays. This is your life jacket, basically. You don't have to worry about a thing. It'll be the way that you.
Is that a song title? I won't start singing because singing's not really my forte. But that just anyway. Sorry, carry on.
I'm gonna say yeah, sure. We'll say yes. Yes, it is. It's called Carrie Brown, Not Worrying About a Thing, Making Keto Foods for the Holidays. It's by Bing Crosby. I don't know who. Now Carrie's like, who is Bing Crosby?
Oh no! My mother, huge Bing Crosby fan. I grew up watching Bing Crosby movies.
And Bob Hope, Bing and Bob.
I never really warmed up to Bob. Bing.
What?
All the time.
Yeah, okay.
All about Bing. Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers, have the complete box set.
Okay, if anyone has ever watched a Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers movie and not just been complete, and I hate musicals, but if you watch it and they're not just completely enamored by the whole thing, something's wrong with you. Seriously, that is.
I have the box set upstairs. I just watch them over. I just love Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers movies.
Yeah,
they're just awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and to listen to nowadays what they actually went through making those movies. I'm a huge movie buff. Like I love and like Turner Classic Movies is one of my favorite channels, and I'm watching constantly old movies back when they didn't have when they actually had to tell a story in a different way because they didn't have the visual effects that we have now. But listening to what they had to go through, talking 18-hour days going through one set of choreography for one scene, and it would take them like a week to film the whole thing, and their feet were bloody and they were just exhausted, but you can't tell. And it's just, those were studs. Yeah, I'm just saying.
That sounds like me the last few weeks while I've been making up all these new recipes.
You, then you're doing
bloody feet and everything.
then you're doing it weird. That's just strange.
Hey, Brian.
Yes.
Let's talk about chocolate.
Oh, okay. So that was my next question. What are we talking about today? But you broached that, so let's talk about chocolate.
We're going to talk about chocolate because the holidays, yay, are coming.
Okay.
And so a lot of people, I guess, equate the holidays with chocolate. I know I do, and that's one of the reasons is because my parents, they grew up in the war, so their childhood was one with a lot of lack and growing up on rations and all that kind of stuff. And they kind of carried that over a bit. So I grew up where the only time of the year that my brother and I had candy, sweets, chocolates, crisps, chips, and pop, soda, fizzy drinks, whatever, was at Christmas. There was this 2-week little window from like just before Christmas to just after New Year. Those were the only 2 weeks of the year we had any of that stuff. Chocolate, cookies, biscuits, all of that. 2 weeks of the year. That was it. For the other 50 weeks of the year, we didn't have that stuff at all. I'm actually really grateful for that now. But at the time, it made Christmas this magical time, because we had all of these like forbidden foods over this 2 weeks. So it was just glorious. So I do equate chocolate and all that stuff with this like magical 2 weeks that only happened once a year. But I do think, maybe for not the same reasons, but I do think that people associate the holidays with chocolate. And chocolate is a subject that's very, very, very dear to my heart, because I'm a trained pastry chef and I'm a trained chocolatier, and I actually made chocolates for a day job at several points in my life. I was a professional chocolate maker in London and also in Perth, Australia. So chocolate is something regular chocolate is something that I'm very, very familiar with.
What's abnormal chocolate? What's
what we eat now?
What's the difference?
The sugar,
okay,
obviously, is the big difference. And there's tricks to using 100%, i.e. unsweetened, sugar-free chocolate. It's a completely different beast to the regular chocolate, i.e. the chocolate that has sugar in it. So, and the reason I wanted to talk about chocolate right before the holidays was because I think a lot of people equate the holidays with a greater increase of chocolate. And of course, there's that kind of cliched woman thing about, needing chocolate.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Needing chocolate at certain times, and how it helps us not to stab people. And
I didn't know that was an option. Okay. I'm writing this down. I'm taking notes.
So I think for particularly women, I think chocolate is a big, big thing, and it can be hard to know how to manage that when you can't, on the surface, you can't have chocolate when you're keto because of the sugar.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is regular chocolate. When you're talking about regular chocolate, you're talking about chocolate that has already been sweetened with regular sugar, and that's got certain properties, chemical properties, that react in a certain way that you're very familiar with based upon your years of extensive training and actual professional use. When you're dealing with 100% chocolate, which is completely unsweetened and has nothing but basically a dirt flavor to it, the how it reacts and how it's treated in terms of making it into something is very different.
Right. So, for example, the simplest example is a ganache. Some people know what that is, some not. But a ganache is an amalgamation of heavy cream, or double cream for the non-Americans listening, heavy cream and chocolate. And you can that's kind of a base for making all sorts of things, from hot chocolate to truffles to everything in between. So it's kind of like the classic sauce, if you like, of chocolate things is ganache, heavy cream and chocolate. To make ganache is very simple. You bring the heavy cream just to a boil. Just when those bubbles start to break the surface, you get all your chopped chocolate and you lob it in and you stir it up, and you get this gloriously thick, shiny, luscious, just heavenly, dark, shiny bowl of yum.
Okay,
and
hold on.
It. And then you move on and you make it into whatever sauce or whatever you're going to make it into.
Okay, hold on. The lawyers say, I have to say this: do not lob the chocolate into the hot liquids. Okay, we do not advocate that. That's a good way to burn yourself. I would suggest you instead gently put the chocolate into the hot boiling liquid. That's just me. I'm not a trained pastry chef, so
Where is the fun in that? Salami Brian.
Okay, go on. So you've ganashed it up, and now you've moved on to something else.
Right, so simple, right? Heavy cream, chocolate. Simple, done, glorious, shiny, dark, yum. You try do that with 100% chocolate, i.e. completely unsweetened, just 100% cocoa chocolate. You try that same thing and see what you get. And I'll, preview to the movie, I'll tell you what you get because I don't want you to waste all that expensive ingredients. You do not get anything useful out of that.
Does it just seize up? Does it just seize up on you? Or is it worse than that?
It's kind of worse than that because you don't know actually what it is. It doesn't seize. That's a different thing. It looks kind of like seizing, but it's kind of curdly and thick and dark, but it doesn't seize. But anyway, the point is, if you think that you can just lob 100% cocoa chocolate into cream like you do with regular chocolate, you're going to be annoyed and frustrated and have lost a bunch of money. And so don't do that. So I did spend a few weeks ago, and because chocolate was kind of just my entire world for a significant portion of my life, I have spent a long time and a lot of money going through pounds and pounds and pounds of 100% chocolate, trying to get this to work in a way that will be easy enough for all of you to recreate it at home and have it work every time. And I've done that. And one of the recipes in the book is chocolate truffles made with 100% chocolate, which work, look, taste exactly like the real thing. And by real, I mean the chocolate full of sugar, but they're sugar-free.
All right.
My point in saying this is be warned, 100% chocolate does not behave like regular chocolate. So, you have to find a good recipe. A lot of the recipes that are online don't work. And I know that because I've tried them. And I don't want you to waste a bunch of money trying and feeling like you're failed when actually 100% chocolate just was not designed to. It's intrinsic to the chocolate. It's not you. It's the chocolate that's the problem. And I used to work for Valrhona, which is, in my opinion, the hands down the best chocolate company in the world. They are in France and they make chocolate, but they own it from soup to nuts. They own the plantations where the beans are grown, and they manage the entire process, which there's not a lot of bean to bar manufacturers. Valrhona is one of them. So they have complete control over the entire process, which means their product is completely consistent and superior because they're growing their own beans. They're not buying another bag of beans from the bean man. They know exactly what strain, what conditions the beans are grown under. So very, very gourmet chocolate. I went there when I started trying to work with 100% chocolate, and I'm like, wait, what? Did I lose my chocolate mojo? What's going on here? This isn't working. So I actually talked to the folks at Valrhona because although I worked for them years ago, I still know them. And I even ordered they have different 100% chocolates. And I think there's only one out of all the different varieties they make. There's only one that will actually successfully make a ganache in the regular way. None of the others will. It's the chocolate. It's not you, is my point.
That's going to be a book title. That's going to be a book title. It's the chocolate. It's not you. Most people wouldn't want to have the budget to buy the one Valrhona 100% chocolate because it'll, break the bank. So I'm not going to suggest that you do that, but I have been working on how to get Ghirardelli 100% chocolate, which is available almost everywhere in the States now, which is why I use it, because I like to make recipes with foods that are available as widely as possible and as budget friendly as possible.
And I've been working my little tail off trying to come up with a way to make it work successfully, and I have. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about why 100% chocolate isn't what you might think it is, and if you have problems, it's not you.
Okay, so, but it's okay, but you've basically troubleshot it, and you've provided a solution that will work for folks with the ubiquitous Ghirardelli 100% chocolate.
Yes. In the meantime, up on my blog, which is carriebrown.com, you will find a recipe for outrageous hot chocolate, sugar-free, made with 100% sugar-free chocolate, which is outrageous and outrageously good. And because it's winter and you'll want to drink hot chocolate while you're waiting for the truffle recipe to come, you could go make yourself some hot chocolate.
You can fuel your outrage with hot chocolate.
Insanely happy.
Right. You can fuel your outrage with hot chocolate because it's outrageous hot chocolate.
Yes.
Okay.
But I also wanted to, because while we're talking about chocolate, I often see everywhere, like, you know, dark chocolate is great for you, and dark chocolate is full of antioxidants, and dark chocolate will save the world, and dark chocolate is full of fantastic healthy fat, and dark chocolate, la, la, la. And I'm like, most of that is true, but what's good about chocolate is the cocoa that it's made from. It's not necessarily the chocolate that's good, it's the cocoa that's good. Cocoa is an amazingly healthy fat.
Yeah.
Chocolate is cocoa and cocoa butter and sugar. So cocoa good, cocoa butter good, add sugar, not so good. You are going to get some of the health benefits of the cocoa, but of course we don't want the sugar. So it drives me nuts when I read all these links on Twitter and Facebook saying, you know, eat dark chocolate, it's so healthy for you, it's da 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 da. That depends on the amount of sugar in the chocolate.
Yeah, so I want to piggyback on that because it's a big sticking point for me. So folks who are listening, I'm pretty hardcore when it comes to this stuff. I do not eat anything if it has sugar in it. I don't care if it's 1 gram of sugar. I don't eat anything that has sugar in it, period. So when I see people talking about eating 100% or eating dark chocolate because it's technically, if you eat anything above like a 65% or a 70% dark chocolate, that's okay. And the reason that's quote unquote okay is because the amount of fiber that's in it, the amount of fat that's in it is supposed to offset whatever the sugar content is. And I look, that is just patently false. That is here's my belief. I believe that is perpetuated by people who want an excuse to eat chocolate. That's just period. So I want to. I
think some of that is also just because the manufacturers working with 100% dark chocolate is just hard. It just doesn't behave like it's supposed to, right?
Right, but that's only. But hold on, that
would complicate their lives so much, and cost and all of that. They're just being lazy.
Well, here's the thing, and this is
easy.
This is where you and I disagree on a pretty significant idea. Working with 100% chocolate is only difficult if you want it to be a certain way. Like my 100% chocolate, I melt the chocolate, I pour in some granules of erythritol or some stevia, I mix it up, I pour it on macadamia nuts, and I put it in the freezer. Now it's grainy, it's not ideal. People would hate it. That's my chocolate, and I'm okay with that. So it's only difficult if you actually want quote unquote delicious chocolate, with nice velvety texture and stuff. So
right. So I don't think we disagree. I think that one of my goals in life is to make food that has all the properties and the yum and the deliciousness and the like you talk about, yours is grainy, mine would never be grainy, it would be smooth. So I think we just have I don't think we disagree. My goal in life is to recreate a a healthy sugar-free version of the original thing. And I think it is so hard. And also getting sweetness into 100% dark chocolate without sugar, it's just hard. And believe me, I have spent weeks of my life trying to make it work. I mean, just it's hard. And so I think the manufacturers they're lazy because it's hard. They're looking at costs because they do actually have to sell it, right? And it's just easier to toss out dark chocolate with less sugar, call it 70%, tell everybody it's healthy, than to try and make a version that tastes and looks and behaves as good as that in a version that's actually healthy.
Okay, so there's two things that we want to talk about next, are related to what you're talking about. Manufacturers, they realize, okay, that the anti-sugar crowd, they've got money too, and they want to buy stuff. So there are more and more chocolates coming on the market that don't have sugar, but because cost is a thing, the thing that they use to sweeten the sugar with is the grossest sugar alcohol you can.
The M word is coming, people. The M word.
Yes, maltitol, or as I like to call it, the ingredient for disaster pants, right? So maltitol is gross. It has nasty side effects. It's just not worth it, but it's cheap, and that's why you find the majority of the quote unquote keto friendly chocolates with maltitol. Now there are a few brands that have kind of struck out of that, and they've moved on to different things, and the market is showing that they very much appreciate that, but that's the majority of stuff you're going to see. So I would advise everyone to avoid the maltitol stuff completely. There's no benefit to it. It's cheap and it's gross. Now,
and there are, and you're right. We are moving in the right direction, but it's going to be slow for all the reasons we've talked about.
Right.
But it's also going to be slow because the manufacturers would rather pump money in the fact that 70% dark chocolate is healthy than trying to find a way to make it truly healthy.
Right. And that's the truth of it, right? I mean,
they're somewhat right in that 70% has got way less sugar in it than 50%, or Hershey's, which has got like 2%, or that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but you get my point. So it is better, but we still don't really want you to eat it.
Right.
Some people, if they have like no other carbs during the day, it's not gonna toss you out of ketosis if you have a square of 70% dark chocolate at night. But that's a choice, right? It's not something that we would encourage you to do.
No, not at all. I would never, ever, ever encourage that. But you're a grown up. Do what you want. Just deal with the consequences. Don't come crying to me. So the other thing is, aside from a ganache, is that the only thing that you can make with chocolate? I mean, seriously, there's got to be other stuff, right?
Yeah, no, there is. It's just that the ganache is just the quintessential kind of base. You can start with the ganache and make it into like so many other things. And it makes chocolate, because the other problem, chocolate is just difficult in that and most people that have ever melted a bar of chocolate know this, is once you've melted it, when it sets again, it doesn't set hard. It sets bendy. It doesn't snap. It's not glossy. You have to go through a process called tempering to get it to set like it was originally, because once you've melted it, then all the molecules just go bleh. And you have to, in order to get them to realign, you have to take it through a process of tempering, kind of like tempering steel. And
if you melt it in your pocket, it's even worse.
Right.
Not that I've ever had that experience. I'm just saying, I'm guessing.
So chocolate generally is just, people don't realize how difficult chocolate is. And I do, only because I've spent so many years of my life up to my elbows literally in it on a daily basis. So it's like, Also, ganache is awesome because adding the heavy cream takes away the whole tempering problem. So that's why ganache is awesome, because once you've got the heavy cream into it, then you can make it into all sorts of other things, and you're not having to worry about the fact that it's going to set dull or it's not going to snap or all of that other stuff. So ganache is just the kind of the source of the chocolate world that makes everything else easier.
Right. So there's and then that's the other point, right? Is when you make something like that, when you make a ganache, or ganache, if you're Carrie Brown, there's ganashing of teeth. When you make something like that, you have gone beyond being able to make it solid again. It's basically going to be a more viscous type food. It's not going to even if you freeze it, it's still going to be soft. You're not going to be able to solidify it.
Depends entirely. The wonderful thing about ganache is it depends entirely on the ratio of heavy cream to.
Okay.
So you can make everything from a very liquid chocolate sauce. If you vary the ratio of cream to chocolate, then you can end up with a solid, which is what's coming in the cookbook, is a truffle, which is a solid, pick it up with your fingers, put it in your mouth, bite into it. It doesn't melt, that. So ganache can be used for a myriad of things depending on the ratio of cream to chocolate that you use.
Okay, so I'm writing this down. Hang on. Pick it up with your fingers, put it in your mouth, bite. Got it. Okay. Now, is that in part of the recipe? Like, is that?
It's for in Austin because that would have got you a slap.
That wouldn't have been the first one. I'm just saying.
No.
Okay, so the big takeaway there is don't get frustrated if your experience with chocolate is one of disappointment and sadness because it's not working the way you want it to, because you're trying to make it 100%, because it's really tough.
Right. It's not you, it's the chocolate.
Right.
And yeah.
Okay.
So just don't. I think that's my number one thing, right, is don't get frustrated and think that you can't cook. 100% chocolate is hard to use successfully. And so I would recommend, until I can get recipes and stuff out to you, and as I say, there is a couple on my blog where you can go for now, but don't just buy Lily's. I don't know if you can get that outside of the States, but in the United States, there's a brand called Lily's who make a pretty decent tasting. And of course, I'm incredibly picky about my chocolate. I think for most people, Lily's dark chocolate, which is completely unsweetened, it's got stevia. Can't remember what else is in it.
Stevia. It's got stevia. Definitely.
It's got stevia. And it might have a erythritol, I can't remember. But it has. It's all goodness.
Yeah.
But it is quite expensive. And I actually haven't tried to cook with it, so I don't know how it behaves. But if you just want to eat chocolate, Lily's in the US is probably your best bet.
And I would like to advocate so Lily's says dark chocolate on it, but their standard dark chocolate is 55%. That is not dark chocolate. That is a dark chocolate wannabe, and that will fool you every time. The 70% is the dark chocolate. So when if you're looking for, and here's the thing, and I'm going to put this out there categorically. Okay, I'm just going to say this, and people can debate this, but they'll be wrong. There are two kinds of people in the world. There are the people who understand that dark chocolate is good, and then there are the people who are wrong, and that's just it. There's milk chocolate is horrible. Dark chocolate is awesome. End of story. Now, having said that, the 70% Lily's blood orange dark chocolate, wow, stuff is good. That stuff to me is super good. The other one is the sea salt dark 70% Lily's. Really, really dig that. Just saying. Okay, go on.
Okay, so just in case anyone's confused by Brian's rantiness.
I doubt that.
Because I am. Dark chocolate defined what makes it dark chocolate is the addition of cocoa and the absence of milk.
Yes.
So it can be 55% and still be dark chocolate.
Pish posh. Pish posh.
Sorry, sir.
I say again, pish posh. I say good day, sir. All right. So yeah, technically 55% means it has more cocoa solids than it does milk. Sure.
It means it has 55% cocoa solids and no milk. That's what 55% means.
It means it's bollocks. That's what it means.
Yeah. All right.
So here's the takeaway. I'm right. And everyone who disagrees with me is not only wrong, but they don't like puppies. That's just the truth of it. So.
Oh, actually, that is true. Yeah. Hey, I don't like, but no, I do like puppies, just from a distance.
Right. Someone else's puppies. I don't want to deal with them. Right. I got you. Carrie Brown. Okay. You heard it here first. Carrie Brown hates puppies. Okay. So.
No.
I'm writing it down.
You know the problem with puppies for me is that they like to lick everything, and I don't like puppy tongues. No.
Sorry. What is that, like a delicacy that you have like when you're working in Perth? No offense to any Australians, but seriously, I'd like a bowl of puppy tongues, thank you.
So every time I'm with friends who have dogs or puppies, and the puppies come like launching at you, and they're like, yes, and I'm like, no tongues, and they just ignore me every time, and they're just like.
You're covered in pastry chef stuff. What do you expect? That's what a dog is going to do. You're like caked with like sweet almond flour junk all over the place. So what? Of course they're going to be
no tongues. Ew.
That's why you like cats, right? They just try to knock you down the stairs, and then that's it. That's all. That satisfies.
They lie on the bottom stair and hope you don't see them, so you trip over them at the bottom. Yes. Way more fun.
Or they wait, or the cats wait until it's dark in the hallway, and then they run out in front of you, especially when they're black cats, and they're like, ha, I bet you almost died, and I'm going to lick my ear now.
Anyway, chocolate.
All right, chocolate. Okay, so don't get frustrated if you're having trouble cooking with it. Carrie Brown's gonna show you the way. Just relax. Mm-hmm. It'll be okay. And in the meantime, if you're not sure how to do it, go get some lilies. And by the way, as I said, dark chocolate is the best. So there we go.
And try and, the bait click, right, is, chocolate is really good for you, da-da-da-da. It's the cocoa that's good for you. Most chocolate, not so much because of the sugar that's in it. So they're kind of misleading you. It's the cocoa that's the goodness. Once it's made into chocolate, you've got the sugar to deal with. So just take that with a pinch of salt when you read all the marketing and the other websites that will tell you that, 70% dark chocolate is like a panacea for health.
Right.
The cocoa is, the sugar isn't.
Right. Yeah, it's not saying that, okay, once again, we're not saying that chocolate is not. There are lots and lots of benefits to chocolate. Great for magnesium. Lots of good micronutrients in there. But when you combine it with sugar, you've basically eliminated a lot of that goodness. So there you go. All right. So there's your parting shot.
And just know that I am working very hard on creating lots. It won't all be in this cookbook, but now I've got the ganache, the truffles down. I will be working on lots of chocolate things that will work successfully, that won't frustrate you, and will taste better than the chocolate with sugar in.
All right, so there you go. That's the big takeaway. Is rest assured, Carrie Brown's got your back, right?
Yes, I do.
All right, thank you. We'll talk to you next week then.
See ya.
All right.